another episode. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about Microsoft Office 365 Admin Center. So this is specifically more for somebody who are looking for their career in IT. There are different roles. You can go all the way up to architect level, and you can be an engineer. And also, if you're someone new wanting to start, so you need to familiarize with Office 365 Admin Center, because there are so many administrative roles available, as you can see on the screen. Depending on the size of the organization, you could be just one dedicated person doing one type of role. So for that reason, you need to understand what this Microsoft admin is. And believe me, this is the most powerful access you would ever get in any Microsoft tenant. So make sure you protect this account. Make sure you know what you're doing it. Don't play around, and make sure you thoroughly study and understand what the changes you're going to implement. So let me show you a little bit and try to cover as much as possible, right? Here we are talking about SaaS, and I do not have any access to any underlying infrastructure, hardware, anything. Everything is being offered to me as a service. So that's the beauty of cloud. Then we have a compliance. Again, compliance is a different, you have to be compliant. So compliant team, if you have a separate team, do not or may not need to have access to security, because security is different and compliance is totally different. Then you have endpoint manager, which is again, how do you protect your endpoint devices? It's a more of a systems and IT role where you're managing your devices. Can be MacBook, can be Windows and iPhones and Androids and all that stuff. And there is an Active Directory. If I click on this, it will take me to Active Directory portal. What it means, then I can manage the account from there, and even more stuff which I will be allowed to set up and configure through Active Directory portal. Now I'll come to Exchange, SharePoint, Teams, right? So Exchange is email, anything Outlook is all Exchange server. There used to be Exchange server. Now I don't count them, but I would say it's +% companies or stuff has been moved to the cloud in Office 365. And this is what, when you access your mailbox, is your Exchange server. So companies who are still on Exchange, they're migrating it, but pretty much you get 100 gigs of mailbox, archive mailbox, shared mailbox, you name it, all these type of mailbox, your room mailbox, resource mailbox, your calendaring, all this stuff is based off Microsoft Exchange server. Same thing when it comes to SharePoint, when again, there used to be SharePoint farm, but not anymore. No clusters, everything is in the cloud. So when you're saving your stuff in your document library, it's all SharePoint. Even OneDrive, when you store file, underlying architecture is based off SharePoint, but it works as your storage, like a Dropbox and OneDrive or Google Drive, whichever. So again, SharePoint, people coming from the SharePoint background, they know what I'm talking about. But for example, if you're new to Office 365, I don't need to going deep, but you have a SharePoint as a service available. You can do a lot of integration with third-party automation and document libraries there, and you can be really very creative with SharePoint. Teams, I'm not going to go more details. I set up a team session in my previous video, but again, it's a team administration, and this is what I was telling about. You can build up a separate career when you become a team certified, and you can manage your governance policies, even the meeting policies, mute policies, whatever your organization needs those policies to be implemented in Microsoft Teams. This is from where you can do it, and you will be just a manager or administrator for your Microsoft Teams. And here we click on that and we go to all, see or what are all admin centers available and what do they actually do. I already explained you the Active Directory, compliance. So there's a different admin for everything, right? Yeah, but for Power Automate, Search and Intelligence, Stream, OneDrive, Power App Security, Teams. Honestly, most I have seen from IT point when you're watching this video, the majority of the role are based basically on Active Directory, compliance, Microsoft Exchange, and you'll find a separate role for security, SharePoint, and Microsoft Teams. So depending how big your organization is, But these are usually the most role. I've not seen somebody who's dedicated for Yammer. Yeah, there are a few cases, but generally speaking, there are 4 or 5 roles for Exchange, separate administrator. SharePoint, as I told you before, security and compliance is separate, Active Directory. So that's in a nutshell usually happens 4 or 5 different people manage a tenant. But again, it can always change, but that's the idea. And that's what you need to know how these work, because then once you assign that admin role, then you pretty much have full access to that, but not the other service. So that's pretty good where you can have separate people, different teams working within their scope of the job or the work and the responsibility. So I hope it makes sense. If you have any question, let me know. I'll see you in my next video.